Chrome Pipes and Pinstripes, episode 209. They're going to chop it live. All right, folks, hello and welcome to episode 209 of Chrome Pipes and Pinstripes. I am your host, Royboy from RoyboyProductions.com. That's a website where you can find all the hot rod and custom car show photos I take for you all over the country, and lately video, too. So this last weekend, I went out to Utah to the Flaming Gorge Resort for the Flaming Gorge Resort Snow Rally. It was a blast. We'll talk about that more on the outro, but let's get into this interview right now. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Two guys that I didn't know much about at all when we started this interview, but I think I met a couple new friends here. So you enjoy this, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yes, I'm Zach with Wired Customs. I have a shop in Waverly, Virginia. I love making YouTube videos. I have a YouTube channel, Wired Customs, pretty simple and straightforward. Me and Dan been friends for a while. We've taught sheet metal classes together, and we're teaming up this time with Kent's Customs in Gasburg, Virginia, and we're going to be chopping a top. So we're really excited about that, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But I started my own shop maybe like 2 years ago ish, and I do like 1959 and older type hot rods. Cool. I don't really get too much into the newer stuff. Luckily enough that I get to pick and choose whose cars I work on, which is really nice. But I'm doing it just because I couldn't find a way not to do it. I worked for two different hot rod shops, and I was also active duty in the Army for a while, but I just couldn't stay away from hot rodding. I got the bug bad, man, real bad. And I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, so I've never actually watched your video. Oh, I have to let you know that I am totally stealing your tattoo. That's awesome.
Yeah, the one that came from the old church books. Kobe had his little zines he put out that were like the size of they're the size of like a CD booklet, you know. So, and they were And this was a T-shirt he had that just had the gasket on the back of the shirt, and I was like, man, that'd be really cool as a tattoo. And I was like, well, why not? That's a
badass tattoo.
And now it's one that's like, if I meet somebody and they look at it and go, well, why would you have that on your arm? Like, you know what? We're probably not going to be very good friends. It's not a ton of common. But if they're like, wow, flathead, huh? Like, hey, yeah, we're going to have some stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah. My specialty is flathead. So I recognize the gasket right away. It's like, let me see it again real quick. I want to see the coolant in the center.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So that's a pre-59 AB. That's like a 99A head gasket.
So this is awesome part for the people who are just listening on audio. But hey, this is why you should go check out the YouTube channel, people. You can see what we're talking about here.
Exactly.
So we've got one of you introduced. Now let's go with the second one.
All right, I'm ready. So my name is Dan D'Alessandro. I run a hot rod shop here in Garner, North Carolina, right outside the state capital of Raleigh. Okay. The shop's been open for about almost 4 years, and it's been full time for me for a month. I got my great day job, and I told him to get out. Well, I left. I told myself to get out.
Right.
So yeah, we're trying that out. Much like Zach, I also have a YouTube channel and, actively post on social media. I work on a wide variety of projects at the shop. We do anything from 20s, 30s hot rods and rat rods all the way up to, square bodies. Really, okay. I think square bodies is my limit. That's like the newest thing I mess with besides my own personal vehicles. And I really specialize in like Ford trucks, 60s and 70s Ford trucks. Cool. But right now I have a yard full of square bodies. So,
it could be gold right now.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And, and I met Zach a while ago at a metalworking class. And like he had mentioned previously, we taught a class together. We both enjoy instructing and, getting everybody else hooked on the same drug of hot rodding that we are hooked on. And I got to make sure that somebody does this after we're done, and
the last episode I did was with Kevin Tates, Paintucation, and was a host of trucks and all that forever. And it's one of the things we talked about. I was like, money thing keeps a lot of people out of the hobby. But another thing is just feeling like they don't know what to do once they do get a car. If they feel like, hey, I don't have enough money to pay somebody to do something, at least giving them the knowledge to be able to try it themselves. is just a huge step forward into getting people to stay into the hobby. You know, not just like old cars, but actually be somebody who drives one and who works on one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Especially with the early Fords.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a guy message me today through my YouTube. He emailed me, and they were doing floor pans in like a 63 or 64 Ranchero, and I posted a video where I did some a while back, and he was like, "Hey, we saw your video and we decided we're going to do it."
Awesome.
And I was like, "Heck yeah." I said, "Mess it up. It's metal. It's great. If you mess it up, you can cut it all back out and do it again."
Yeah.
Get a mulligan.
You know, I kind of equated it to a guy lately with woodworking. It's like, you know, the nice thing about working on a car is you could always just cut out what you weld in. I go, it's better than woodworking, because at a certain point you can't really start gluing stuff back together and have it look right. But in steel, you can do that. You know?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You can just make a little melty and get right back at it. So, Zach, I just had to take a little side here. You said you don't work on the new stuff, and you said up to 60 or up to 59. I'm like, realize that was 60 years ago now. So, it doesn't feel like it, because people are like, 30 years ago doesn't feel like the 90s. 30 years ago to me is the 60s, because that's, when I started becoming an adult. So 30 years, it's just, you start thinking about going, gosh, man, 60 years worth of cars are not, and I have a lot of friends like this that are not in your like sweet spot. And like, there's a lot of cars made in those areas, a lot of different models, different makes. And, let's be honest, after about 75, most of them weren't that great.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That used to be my cutoff, was 75. I wouldn't work on anything. Now my cutoff is 59.
Yeah. Well, and it probably, I was talking to a guy a little while back on here, Brant from Martin's, and I think he said a similar thing. It's like 72, 73 was the newest they want to have in the shop. And it just kind of differentiates you from the people who just take on anything too. You don't have to, it's not that you don't, that's how I say this. It just allows you to specialize. And that, that's a part of a marketing thing more than anything else, but also it's where your happy place is. That's where you want to work. Why not just say, this is all I want to work on?
Yeah. Unless you're like a 15 man shop, where you got a bunch of techs, it's hard to have enough tools to do all the different eras, because, I do the early Ford stuff, and there's a lot of special tools in the early Ford stuff. Those tools are hard to get, and if I start doing 70s stuff, now I need special tools for the 70s stuff. I don't, get me wrong, I love a nice, 70s Chevelle and stuff like that. But and my heart's a little older than that.
If somebody gave me a 70s Chevelle, I'd thank them, and then I'd look for something a little older to trade it for. I like them, but I'd rather have a 58 Impala. I'd probably trade a 70s Chevelle for that pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Those late 50s Chevys had some killer fins on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And,
especially 59, they were nice and flat.
Mm-hmm.
And the 50s Mopars were killer too, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All the stuff that Max Grundy's been doing with like the 59 to 61 era Mopar stuff lately.
Yes.
Amazing stuff. So anyway, that was a side I had to go on for a minute there. So let's talk about the shop that you guys are going to be doing. We're going to be doing this for traditional. See, I'm going with the old magazine title, Speed and Culture Illustrated, not traditional culture. It's hard to break old habits. So what car are you chopping?
A 1934 5-window Ford. And it's pretty clean already. It's got the flathead V8 in it, 39 3-speed, 39 juice brakes. Very, very traditional style hot rod. Yeah. And what's cool about it is I'm building it for a customer for Trog. So this year, Trog, you'll be able to go there and see it in person if you go to Trog.
Cool. Where are you going to do the work at?
We're doing it at Kent's Customs in Gasburg, Virginia. He's our other guy that's in on this. There's three main guys chopping it together.
Cool. And so how much do you have it all planned out, or is this something you guys are going to talk about when you're there in the room together with the car? I mean, do you know what, how much you're taking out of the roof?
We know basically. You can never have a chop planned perfectly, because you just got to get the car and, plan it out in person. Then when you start cutting it, sometimes some of the plans changes anyways, but basically we're not doing exotic chop. It's not going to be like a salt flat chop.
Right.
We're guessing it's probably going to be 3 inches in the front, 2.5 in the back. That's basically the smallest amount of cut you want to do on that body style to chop it. Anything less than that, it's not really worth it, because we're not really going to be changing the shape of the top of the doors with that little of a chop. I know 3 inches sounds like a lot, but when you're bringing it all down, not much changes with 3 inches, but yeah, it's just a real traditional hot rod style chop. Real straightforward.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't understand. You start getting more than that, and all of a sudden, where the pillars are is not where the pillars are. They don't match back up when you drop it back down there.
Oh yeah.
Watching some of these guys do the first chop, and you're like, oh man, I didn't.
I
this
know.
planned out at all.
Yes,
the first chop I did, my buddy made all the marks and told me to cut it, and I cut it. I was like, none of this lines up, and he's like, oh crap. He was just messing with me, but I'm sitting there like staring at this 49 Lincoln 4-door, and I'm like, I've just destroyed this car. And then he showed me how it actually all works, and
right,
and that's what we're hoping to do with this. Show some people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, education. Yeah.
I've got a buddy out Western Kansas named Matt Murray, and it's not the Matt Murray from Iron Trap Garage, it's a different one, but he's got probably 20, 30 cars that he bought where somebody chopped it and just screwed it up. And they lost hope, and they just finally years later sold this car, been set in pieces for years. And he's like, well, every once in a while, we'll grab one, we'll pull it in the shop. We'll either make it right or we'll go, find another car to cut a top off of and put it right.
Yeah.
A lot of people lose hope.
Roadster.
Right?
Oh yeah, I know, right?
And so it's cool that you guys are going to be showing people, hey, on this car, this is how we're going to do this, and this is what you're going to look like in the end, to give them some idea. Again, like we talked about earlier, you can learn how to do this stuff yourselves. You can, and it's awesome to have shops. All right. It's awesome to have people you could take a car to. But even if you are not doing the work yourself, if you know what they are doing, you're going to be prepared when you get that picture that, okay, the roof is actually off of the car right now. You now have a Roadster for the time being. So, it's kind of cool to be able to show people, hey, this is how you do it if you want to try it at home. If you don't want to try it, you should know how it's all done, because you're paying the bill for somebody else to do it. So you should be able to keep an eye on what's happening and understand the process.
Oh yeah, you should understand the process, especially a chop. It depends on the body style, but they can get pretty expensive, especially 4-doors. And if you understand the process, we're like, okay, well, I see why it's that expensive, because it takes so many man hours to get it right. Yeah,
that's why I was like, wait a minute, 49 4-door. Lincoln for a first chop. Like, just pick a hard one. Why don't you just start with
a hard one? Yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
something completely round and
but luckily, man, I got really lucky. It was this cat down here named Ed Enderly, Big Ed. He was from Ohio. He's an old school hot rodder, and I met him through a friend of a friend, and he had this car out there, and finding a 49 to 51 Lincoln or Mercury is kind of tough anyway. That's not already been chopped, or it's too expensive or destroyed. And he had like 20 of them. And he was like, pick out which one you want. And I said, well, I want to learn how to chop it. He's like, well, pick it out and we'll push it in the shop. And he became a mentor. And so I got really lucky. And he was like, if you can chop this, you can chop just about anything.
Yeah.
And and we cut out the back window and we left the whole back window full size and just laid it over.
Yeah.
And we did like a 6-inch chop on it. And swapping B pillars, and I went to go throw the scrap out. And he's like, no, boy, you put that scrap right there. We're going to use that to make the rest of our pieces. And it worked. I had to trust him because obviously I had no idea how to do any different. So yeah.
Well, we're telling some kind of origin story here. We'll go back over to Zach, and let's talk about the first customized vehicle you owned. What was that?
Well, maybe not owned, but my dad's car. He had a 46 Ford Business Coupe.
Oh, cool.
And growing up, I watched him do all this stuff. He chopped the top, he rounded the doors, everything you could think to do to it. It's super customized, door poppers, super slick car. So that's what I grew up around, was my father doing it. And I watch him doing all that really slick stuff. Now it's funny because now that I've been doing this for 15, maybe more than 15 years myself, he always say, oh, it's not that good. Oh, it's just okay. Don't look too close. But now that I've been doing this for a long time, I'm like, Dad, you're really good at this. You just need to admit it already. Right? Because, man, his stuff looks great. But yeah, that's kind of what gave me the bug. I was just my father. Then my two uncles are both hot rodders, and my grandpa, he was a real big hot rodder. He loved in his generation, it was the Shelby Cobra, the coupe.
Oh, yeah.
My dad built my grandpa that car when I was little, so I got to watch two different worlds. The old 40s cars world, but then also a little bit of the muscle car type world, so I think I have a good mix in my blood somewhere.
You don't have to be actively for a job working on all the years to take lessons from those other cars too, because it's like I worked at a blues studio for years as a recording engineer, and it's one of the things I learned from those guys was you can pull ideas from anywhere, flip it, turn around, use it over here, and it becomes a whole new thing. And that's all about music. And I think the creativity that you guys do, metalwork in a car, cutting shop on top, you can, the custom guys adding scoops here but not there. Mm-hmm. You can take all these lessons and you don't have to follow a recipe book, but you can grab something. This little, the curved windows on the back glass of the Hirohata has been in everybody's news feed for last week. That curved glass there, that's a really cool touch, and it looks good on most Mercs, and even the 40s, and 41s.
I knew I should have offered 200 on that Merc, so I would have won it.
I know. The one I was amazed with the $400,000 for Dragula, and I'm like, there was a whole bunch of those cars, right? You're doing $400,000. It's a coffin on a set of rails.
Yeah.
I can whip one up for like $500.
The dude Ed who taught me how to chop said he wanted to build one. And right before he dies, when he knows he's going to kick the bucket, he wants to take it into downtown to the roundabout with the Scooby-Doo theme song blaring and the witch laughing. And he wants to do donuts and make the cops chase him all the way back home.
Hey, there's worse ways to go.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, let's hear your first customized car story now.
My first custom one was,
or any modification. I mean, for me, my first modifications was stereo stuff. I was a stereo kid, before anything else. And I worked at a stereo shop.
No, I had a bunch of 60s Ford trucks, and I had like a 64 Mercury in it. Those were all not really big modifications, maybe, changing the gear ratios or doing exhaust work and stuff like that. I didn't do stereos because everything I owned had straight pipes on it. So it was kind of pointless. And, because I like to see blue flames shoot out at night, which was really bad for your valves, by the way. Don't do that. But it was really cool. And but my first like custom car was that Lincoln, and then shortly thereafter I did a 46 Ford truck that again, we were going to chop it in this first truck I was doing, and my buddy was like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, like 5 inches, and he's like, "Wuss." And I was like, "Fine, let's do 8." So we did. Right. And that was a dumb idea.
This roofs are too tall.
Yeah, we did it. It turned out cool. I had a 6-inch windshield, and I had about a 6-inch or 7-inch side window, and I had to, like, North Carolina terms here, I had to hunker down while I was driving it so I could see. And I was sitting on the floor. Super uncomfortable, but my God, was it cool. Had a Y block with Lakester headers on it. And we did like the salt flat smoothie caps and white walls. And, it looked real traditional. It was sprung all the way around. And I went back later and switched it out to airbags and a 4-link in the rear and left the front with the transverse leaf. And then now I'm just all about all kinds of things. I've got everything from flatbeds to my little roadster to my 51 shoebox, and I want them all. Like Pokemon, you got to catch them all, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I definitely know that feeling. Yeah, I like the touch. The blue flames really looks cool, but not great for the engine.
Yeah. Well, and then motorcycles too. And actually, Zach I just posted a picture of a sweet sporty chop.
Oh hell yeah!
That I want. But me and Zach both mess around with motorcycles too, and I've been customizing motorcycles as long as well. Mostly traditional stuff like 60s and 50s style choppers and bobbers. I love like foot clutches, jockey shift, no front brakes, no front fenders. Something you're going to die when you leave the house.
Yeah.
You're going to do it all the way.
Yeah.
So, and now this is a question I used to ask every guest. We're on, this will be episode 209. And I don't know where I stopped asking this one. So I'm going to ask you both this. Oh, thank you. I'm going to ask you both this question because I just need to start bringing this back. We had a discussion about this last week, and somebody was like, "You got to do this." Okay. What was your very first speeding ticket?
Oh my gosh, mine's embarrassing. So
I'm ready. No, you go first. I want to hear it.
You're like, I got this. Start them off. I'll finish it.
Oh yeah. Well, when I was 16, I didn't want what everyone else had. Everyone had Fox body Mustangs.
Yeah.
So I hated those when I was 16, which I kind of like them now that I'm older. Just go figure. But I'm like, no way, Dad. I'm not getting a Fox body Mustang because my parents, they're all hot rodders and stuff. And they're trying to get me something hot roddy. And I was like, no, I want to pick it out, And I picked out a 79 Lincoln Town Car.
Oh, man.
it had the same engine as the Fox body, and it had the Cobra 5.0.
The same engine and 3 times the weight,
Yeah, I know, right? 3 times the springs too, man. You should see me drifting that thing sideways. Yeah, I would peel out in that thing. I cut the exhaust off, straight piped it like any other 16-year-old. It was loud and revved it up underneath the bridges and stuff like an idiot. But it was so funny. It sounded like some hot rod Mustang because it had the Cobra intake and all the upgrades, bigger fuel injection rails on it, and all the stuff you do to Fox bodies, right?
Yeah.
And it was just absurd. And I would just haul ass in that thing with my little record player playing stupid country songs and just look like a boss hog flying down the road. And I think I was going like, I don't know, something like 60 and a 35 or something stupid teenagers do, and got pulled over in that thing. And the cop's like, are you serious? I thought a grandma was speeding in this car down the road. So that's my embarrassing speeding moment.
That's not embarrassing. I actually think that's awesome. Because my buddy had a 77 Caddy Fleetwood when we were in high school, and we drove it the same way.
Nice.
It had like a 426 or whatever weird size big block. Things. Oh yeah. No, so I got pulled over a bunch driving cars, but I never got a ticket. Like I'd get warnings. I had a 72 Malibu. I got pulled over doing like 20 over. They let me off.
Just flirting with the guys, or how'd you get all these tickets?
Well, they probably looked at me and they're like, man, look how ugly this dude is. He doesn't need any more problems. There's never a girl in the car. And, my cars were crap. That Malibu had like spray foam in the fenders to keep exhaust fumes from coming in the car. And it was so awful. And same thing in my Mercury and in my 66 Ford. I got pulled over, but my first real speeding ticket that I got was actually on a motorcycle. I had a sporty chop that I built and no speedometer because, they look stupid.
Right.
And I was hauling a butt to work, man, and I got pulled over, and I was doing 70 and a 45. Ooh. And it was a state trooper. The state troopers around here, they don't let you off. And especially me, I look like a convict. So they were like, let's pull up your record. And it was spotless, except for like 13 seatbelt tickets. But the cop made me sit in his front seat, the passenger seat, and his laptop stand was broken. He made me hold his laptop while he typed my ticket. And then my license plate was mounted illegally. It was vertical instead of horizontal. And the lights, and the lights were covering the first and last letters. And they were either a B, 3, or an 8, but you couldn't tell. And he's like, if you read the right license plate number, I won't give you a ticket for that. And I got it right. I did. I absolutely got it right. Yeah. And I almost got out of the ticket too. I went to court and the DA was like, I'll hook you up with a judge that'll let you use a prayer for judgment on that. I don't know if they have that where you guys are at. No, it's like a mulligan on minor infractions. Oh, but if you get in trouble again, it comes back.
Oh,
and you're supposed to have like one per household every so many years.
It's not erased. It's just made a draft. It's made a draft, and they can make it real again.
It's in the drafts with your TikToks for later. And but and I came back again, and the next DA looked like Colonel Sanders, and he took one look at me, and he was like, "Pay the fine or go to jail."
Oh my gosh!
So I had to pay like a $300 fine and got points on my license, and now when I drive my kids around and I like hit the gas a little hard, they think I'm an awesome, hot rodder, and I'm getting on. I'm like, you guys have no idea.
Yeah.
I've done 170 on a motorcycle. This is nothing.
I have had my dad and one of my uncles on this podcast twice, telling all the stories that they told me my whole life. And I'm like, we're going to put some beers in you, and we're going to turn the microphone on, and we're going to see the size of the fish scales that these, I know you didn't ride a dinosaur to school uphill both ways in the snow. Let's find the truth here.
Yeah.
But they're telling these stories. I'm like, nah, even if from their generation to my generation, if I did any of that, jail, straight to jail, do not ever come out of jail. And they're just like, oh yeah, well, this happened and we just picked up the pieces of the car and went home, and it was like, and now from just what I did, which wasn't much, but from what I did now, those, some 16-year-old kid does it. Yep. jail. It's like things are getting more and more restrictive. And I get it, kids get in trouble, kids get hurt. Nobody wants the kids to get hurt, so the rules get more strict. I get it, but you still got to let them have a little fun.
Oh, kids got to be dumb, man. That's how you learn,
Yeah.
Get the wild blood out early.
Right. All three of us were probably really stupid, and look at us now.
Yeah. Now
we made it partially.
Yeah, look,
I'm just older, grayer, and stupid. So not really all that much has changed there.
And I'm sure mine and Zach's dads were the same way. My dad tells me stories. I'm like, there's no way, because my dad, he looks like Super Mario, and he's an Italian plumber, so it's even funnier. And like, he's just like this. He's always got this like shit-eating grin on his face, and he's always just happy-go-lucky. And he's telling me about like doing burnouts in a Corvette until the drive shaft flies out and stealing the steps from the police department back door. And I'm like, this is not the guy that raised me. Yeah. I mean, he raised us on, Three Stooges and stuff, but
right.
And by the way, and I mentioned this in another one of these podcasts we did, if you get a chance, find pictures of Zach and his dad.
Okay.
His dad has decided how to clone people.
Oh,
because they look exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I really think that they just replace themselves, like those conspiracy theories. This one goes away and they just slide another one in.
Right. Was it a picture of was it Nick Cage? There's a picture of some guy in the Civil War that looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
That guy could have been in National Treasure,
Yeah. I guarantee there's pictures from the Ford plant in 1932 with a picture of a guy looking like Zach holding the first flathead.
And that's why he knows so much about flatheads.
I know.
Just that knowledge is cloned.
Generational knowledge.
Oh, there you go.
One quick thing, and I'll let you get back to more important things.
Talk about anything.
The flatheads and the tattoo.
Uh-huh.
I got to tell, I have a flathead tattoo, but mine is embarrassing.
Okay.
So I went to a shop, and the guy was like, yeah, I'm going to do this flathead tattoo. And then come to find out, he called out drunk that day. So they had one of the other people in the shop do it who didn't know cars. So I have a full flathead tattooed on my back with a blower on it, and it's got 4 exhaust pipes on each side.
Oh man. So is the exhaust pipes even across, or are they closer in the middle?
No, it's a front shot of the engine. So you see the front of the engine, so you can see the pipes, but a car guy would look at it and be like, you idiot.
Oh my gosh. You guys show that. You guys show it now, Dan. You can't just say it.
No, I can't do it now. That's too provocative for TV. I'll show you in person now.
All right.
Well, I'll show everybody on the YouTube live stream.
There you go.
Lovely.
So let's talk about that. So the 29th is when you guys are going to do this chop. Yep. Is it what time of day? What's going on with all that information?
Yeah, January 29th, 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
So sorry that to make people in California get up so early, but we got to get the ball rolling. When you're doing a chop, you want to do it early. You don't want to do it. They've got beautiful
weather year round. They can wake up a little early for this.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we want you to do the live stream, but if you miss it because you're in California or something like that, Dan's going to record it. I'm going to record it. Ken's going to record it. And we're all going to post our own different style content,
oh, cool.
A couple weeks later. So definitely tune in for the live stream. We want you to be there, but you can also see more behind the scenes stuff, a couple
and
weeks later.
We're going to be answering questions and talking about explaining why we're doing this chop this way, where we're cutting, and we're, try our best to be informative during it as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Because there'll be times when somebody's just kind of standing there. So if that person could go over the computer and answer a few questions, that's just going to keep everybody more interested. That's awesome. So what is the YouTube channel that everybody needs to go subscribe to and hit that bell button so they can get all that information?
Yeah. Rod and Style TV.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, 29th. I'm trying to think. I think I'm going to be in, let's see here. There's a pop-up just came on my screen. I think I'm going to be out in LA for the Grand National that date.
Yep.
So I will have to watch it later, but hey, I'll have 3 different versions I can watch and check it all out.
I got a better idea. While you're there, I need you to find the biggest screen in that facility and hook your phone in and just nonchalantly start streaming it. And everybody there is going to love it.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be like all the cool stuff's actually happening on the other side of the country right now.
Like, hey, Alex, can I put a projector in the Suede Palace?
Yes.
Don't ask why. I'm just going
to. Yeah. Just drop some names of some random people and be like, they said it was okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Bob said it's cool.
Yeah.
And so we're doing a 34 5 window, and we're doing it on 29th, Rod and Style TV on YouTube. And then on Instagram, where do we need to follow you guys on Instagram so we can keep track of what you're doing when you're not doing this job?
Yeah, I think it's wiredcustoms.va. I think that's my handle.
That sounds like it. Yeah.
Yep. And mine is Greasy Boy Kustoms with a K, because I like everybody to spell it wrong and not find me. But yeah, K with a cool custom. But yeah, we've both got Facebook and Instagram, and we TikTok. We do that as well.
I've not gotten into that yet. I mean, I tried it really early, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't not for me. So maybe I'll have to try it again.
No, there's a lot of cool features for video editing on there, but it's a trending thing. I still can't figure out Reddit. That still messes with my head. That's a little too much for me, but
TikTok just makes me feel as old as I actually am. That's what it's best for.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, so we're going to be posting stuff before and after, and like Zach said
those
previously,
feeds for like behind the scenes type things too.
Oh yeah.
And the whole thing is behind the scenes, but
and my brother's going to have my phone, so it's probably going to be funny because God knows what he's going to do. And then Rod and Style on their Instagram, I'm sure they're going to be posting as well, and the magazine as well. I'm sure we'll do something to some extent, but they're all good follows regardless. If you guys enjoy handsome bearded men working on cars, me and Zach are where it's at.
If you enjoy handsome bearded men, this video podcast is what you should be watching.
I know we should get sponsored by a beard oil.
I know. Well,
we should.
Today. I'm a little colder. It's a little dry. So, all right, we'll go back and we'll bring it all back to that stuff here a little later. Let's talk more about other car stuff that's going on. All right. So we got your first speeding ticket stories, which both of them are pretty good. Mine was in an '89 Ford Ranger. Not sexy, not cool.
Ford Rangers are the most indestructible vehicle ever.
I proved it. I did some dumb stuff in it. Apparently,
was that the square body style?
Yeah. Apparently, it was ready for Baja from the factory because there was some railroad tracks by our house, and we were 16. And what possible bad thing could happen by launching a Ranger through the air? Right?
Nope, nothing.
It worked fine.
Yeah, Duke's a hazard.
I had 2 foreign exchange students in the back seat. We had one living with us.
He
was teaching me all kinds of great things that I can't remember now, but I probably shouldn't repeat them because I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing them right, first of all, and secondly, how horrible they were to say to people.
Oh yeah.
So they're both in the back seat, and we were heading back from the one lived way out in the country with his host family. And the only reason these two guys were buddies is one was from Spain, one was from Mexico, but they both spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
And there were the only 2 people like in the county at the time that really spoke Spanish. So they became buddies. So I picked up the second guy and we're heading back to the city. And city is 50,000 people. Let's be honest. It's not a big town. And I just happened to be cruising. Wasn't really paying not much attention. I did 79 and a 55.
Yeah.
And
respectable,
not a great one, but pretty good. Yeah. None of that 65 and a 55 stuff for me.
I need you to get those numbers up.
Right. I did later, but I didn't get caught. And then so I'm sitting there talking to the officer. I'm like, yes, sir. Here's my license, sir. Very, very, very polite. Very, trying to not be a jerk. And they're both in the back muttering things in Spanish that I'm sure the officer didn't want to hear, even if he could understand it. And later we get home and I'm like, guys, I don't know what you were saying. And they started explaining to me. I was like, please don't do that. Don't ever do that again. It's like, because he might speak Spanish. And if he does, we're all going to jail. But I immediately pulled in. I don't know how. I was driving by a car dealership and I saw my folks were just cruising a lot. So I pulled in there and pulled up next to my dad, window to window. And he goes, what are you up to? I was like, well, I pulled out the speeding ticket and I was like, well, like father, like son. He just popped his head because he was paying for insurance at the time,
Oh yeah.
We had a good time. It's all cool. He understands. But I didn't get caught. But Mom had a brand new '89 Grand Prix, had a digital dash, and at the time I thought it was really cool to watch that digital number just creep up. Right? I mean,
yeah,
it was '89. It was a cool time for digital dashes. Now, not so much. But
no.
Apparently, that car had a governor at 128.
Oh.
And I didn't know that a governor existed on a car, and didn't know this car was equipped with said governor. And so I seriously thought I broke the car. All of a sudden, 120 miles an hour just starts cutting out and jerking around, and I'm like, oh god, I slowed down. I went back to 55, and everything's fine. I'm just sweating bullets. And I give the car back to mom, and like a week later, it started developing some weird electrical gremlin. So for the next 2 months, she's fighting with the dealership about this car, and I'm sure that I did it. Something I did, like going 128 mile an hour, did that because it's like I don't know this computer stuff in the cars. And so for 6 months, I thought I destroyed this car. Turned out it was just a recall issue, and it was fine. So I learned some valuable lessons. Number one, I was an idiot when it came to cars. And number two, governors exist, and probably for good reason, because I would have taken it as far as it would have gone, and that probably would not have ended well.
Oh, yeah.
That'd have been one hell of a speeding ticket, too.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, it was big. The last one I got was for, I was driving a Galaxy, 63 Galaxy. I'm coming home this 65 mile an hour road, had a, gentle 2 mile long hill, gave it a little extra to get up over the hill, didn't let off on the other side. Wasn't really thinking about it, And I got hit for 72 and a 65. So just barely, most of the time you hit 70, they won't give you a ticket.
They gave you a ticket for that?
$175.
You need to move to North Carolina.
Right?
We don't care.
It used to be Montana. Was it Montana? They're like $5 no matter how fast you're going. $5. Well, but here's a 20. Meet me at the other border of the state. We'll see.
Yeah. Can I get a credit on my account?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some more fun car stuff. So, Zach, how did you get into being the guy with all the flathead knowledge?
You know what? It just kind of fell into it, right? I mean, my father, he took out the flatheads and put it in the small blocks, So I didn't grow up around flatheads or anything like that. I grew up around like GTOs and Galaxies and stuff.
Yeah.
But just when I'd go to the car shows, I would just see stuff that I thought was cool. And just my taste just changed as I got older. And I just love the flatheads because it's a different time. When you have a flathead powered car, it's not like, oh, it's a 90s hot rod. If you guys go to hot rod shows a lot, you can tell when a car has been restored, right? Yeah. Oh, that's from the 90s. Oh, that's from the 80s. And
look, it's got vertical Cadillac taillights. I know exactly what year that was done.
Yeah.
The frame, the engine, the interior, and the body are all the same color.
Right. with a little Heartbeat of America deal at the back. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Or look like a Taco Bell wall, the painting of the car.
Those are the cats that got the seats with their names on them that they sit in behind the chairs. Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt. It was too easy.
Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, so they weren't exactly what everybody around you was doing, but you saw them and you kind of fell for them. Did you have a flathead guru guy that you found along the way that was giving you this information, or was
no, not at all. The problem was I started being obsessed with them. When you go to a car show, I loved how they look, and those style of cars are usually 40s, 50s style hot rods.
Exactly.
Kind of rough. I like that. That was kind of cool how they're just kind of rough type race cars. They didn't have the show paint. They were like lacquer finished and still had rust pits underneath the paint. And I don't know why. It's not like a rat rod thing.
Car, I think.
Yeah, I know. There's plenty of them like that. It's not like a rat rod thing, but it's kind of like a traditional hot rod thing, and I just fell in love with it. So when I started, it's like, okay, well, I want one in my hot rod because I've had a couple of hot rods. I just never got to flatheads because they're expensive, right? Let's be honest. They're pretty expensive.
It's the most money you're going to spend to go slow, but it sounds so good and feels right.
Yes. In a car show, you can hear a flathead pulling up in the back. I'm like, oh, I got to go over there. There's a flathead over there, But I had no one that was teaching me flathead stuff, and the information I looked up was either spotty or I was already a mechanic, by the time I was getting into flatheads. I had a lot of mechanic years, and I would hear someone's information and be like, no, I'm not pouring, Coca-Cola into my cylinder. That's stupid. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's got to be someone out there teaching this stuff. And I learned of Vern Tardell later on, which is, you already know, is one of the godfathers of early Ford type stuff and flatheads. And I learned some from him, but it was usually I would go to thrift store, buying old shop manuals and finding the Ford Bible, which I'm sure you know about, and all the old tech articles back then from Hot Rod in the 60s and 50s. They were legit tech articles. They were telling you how to, run the lathe and do this and that. And I kind of started piecing all that stuff together. And I was like, well, man, it took me years to find all this information. I should just start teaching people this because, more people that are interested in it, more people who are going to build it. That's better for everybody because then there's going to be more parts available. It's kind of like a trickle down effect.
Exactly.
And I just like, okay, I want to start my YouTube channel. I'm going to start teaching people about flatheads because there's way too many misconceptions about every little detail. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been in the forums of these guys arguing this and that, and someone's got to set it straight. You know, you got to find the details. So that's what I've been trying to do.
Awesome. And you know, I no longer have a flathead power car. I had to sell one a couple years ago, do a home repair, and lucky for me, the 51 custom shoebox went to my aunt, so I get to see it all the time.
Oh, nice.
You know, it didn't go away
every once in a while.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, hey, so when you're done with that, can I buy that back from you? But yeah, I got the tattoo, but no longer have the engine. So, but yeah, the guys you're talking about, Vern Tardell. I mean, if you're listening to this and you don't know who he is and you have an interest in flatheads, do yourself a favor. There's I believe he's got more than one book, if I remember right. I know there's at least one book that got his name on it. That's early Fords and flathead stuff both in there, if I remember right. Of course, Brian Darwish's documentary, A Sweet Sickness on Flatheads, is awesome. And it's got a couple good spots with Vern in there. So you got into all the flathead stuff. And then what was the first car you put a flathead in for yourself? Or did you just get a car that had one in it when already?
I built a couple Model A's for people with flatheads. Okay. And I finally, I had a Model A for like 5 years, banger, 4-cylinder. I guess you can consider that a flathead.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved the sound of it. I mean, I want to sound like a 16-year-old again, but when you cut exhaust off of a flathead 4-cylinder, oh my gosh, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a couple of years ago, I finally put a V8 in my Model A, or last year, I guess. Last year, I finally put a V8 flathead in my Model A. It's like, all right, it's time, So yeah, it's awesome. It makes a huge difference in a Model A, though. I mean,
world of difference.
Oh yeah, even with a 3-speed without an overdrive, a Model A is pretty peppy with a flathead 110 horsepower, engine.
So yours got a little juice behind it, doesn't it? You did a little bit of work to the engine, or?
Yeah, well, this one that I have now has a cam in it, but it has stock heads and a single barrel intake. But I have everything that I need. I got an Isky 4.4 Alpha, which is a really rare cam you can't find anymore, and some really heavy hitter type stuff that I'm going to throw at it whenever I get the time.
Sweet. So Dan, what got you into the older style stuff over the years? It sounds like you've been to a bunch of different vehicles, bikes and different era cars. But
I've had way too many cars, and I wish I still had them all, except the '89 Ford Probe. That thing was cool, but
at the time.
Yeah, it had a car phone. It was amazing.
The big backbone style.
No, this one mounted on the dash and had this big thing in the trunk. Yeah, it didn't work, but but no, when I was younger, my dad got us into building plastic models. Dad always went to car shows when he was a kid. His dad always took him. Neither of them were like hot rodders, and neither of them ever had money to like build a cool car, but they still loved them and they appreciated them, and they both. My grandfather and my father both built from scratch remote control airplanes. They don't do like the kids. Cool. Like they buy the plans and cut out all their own parts and stuff. And they're both super peculiar about how all that goes together. But, he got me hooked on mechanical things, moving things. Why does it move? And how can you make it stop or go faster? And, and so we, as kids, we would tear stuff apart, and he never deterred us. He was like, well, figure out how to put it back together, fool. And, when I came time to buy my first vehicle, my parents didn't have money to like buy me a car. And I had, the only thing I found affordable was a 64 F100 with a 292 Y block in it. And I saved up, I was working at a bowling alley and saved up all my money for 3 months to pay $1,200 for this truck. And I blew it up 2 weeks after I bought it, doing burnouts in front of the house. And it went from there. Like once I had that truck and experienced a 3-speed on the column and like this old clanky, quirky truck, that's all I ever wanted. Yeah. I didn't want a nice vehicle, and I always just wanted more. I wanted older ones and older and older. And, if I could daily drive a Model T comfortably, I'd probably figure out a way to do it, but there's nothing comfortable about a Model T.
No.
And, and I'm not a big guy, but, there's still no room in there. But, right. It's just been a sickness that I can't shake, and that's all I want to drive. And I get in my daily driver sometimes with its heated seats and feel a little disgusted with myself.
I have a daily driver that gets 34 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
And so there's sometimes like this last event, we went out to Utah. We flew this time because we just didn't have time to drive because it's 14 hours each way.
Yeah.
But when I've been out there before, I've driven in that car. I'm like, I really wish I was driving a Galaxy, even though it doesn't have AC and it's summertime and there's no cruise control and it's a big block, so it's thirsty. But there is something to be said for the cruise set on 80, the temperature set on 60, and listening to your favorite music from time to time. But boy, you don't feel when you get there, like, I'm going to park this where no one can see it and walk into the event,
Oh, yeah.
They all know. I mean, they know what I drove to get there. But yeah, there's days I just like, okay, there's no slime on the road from the trucks for ice. I'm just going to drive the Galaxy today. I don't care that I'll be cold all the way there. I don't care that it needs rubber seals that have been in the garage for 5 years. I haven't had to put in yet. I don't care. I'm just going to drive this car so I don't feel uncool for one day.
Yep. Yeah. I did. I drove my shoebox today. Me and Zach, we're probably 2 hours from each other. And I think we're both expecting snow this weekend. And so they've already brined the roads, but it was 58 here today.
Well, I was telling Zach before we started recording, it was 55 here yesterday. And right now with wind chill, it's -2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang it, I should have drove the car yesterday.
Yeah. Again, you should move over to the East Coast out here by us. It's lovely.
And drive roasters all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in 2017, I did a 48 state road trip and I wrote a book about it. So I did get to come through Virginia, but I shot a car. Let's see. So each state I went to, I shot a car and wrote an article like I would when I do something for a magazine, but I just kept it off this book. So on the trip, though, I get a call from Hop Up. Hey, can you shoot this car since you're going to be on the East Coast? And so I worked that in the schedule. And, I got to see a little bit of your state, but it was pretty much all from the interstate, Yeah. And then stopped one place, drove around, and we actually hit we were near a couple old battlefields. So we drove by just so I could see a little historical spot. But I've not spent enough time out there and I need to get back out there.
Yeah. And actually, the next time you go on those road trips, call me. I am my boss, so I can tell me not to come in. I want to go.
It was 9 weeks in a 63 Galaxy driving 18,000 miles.
That is magical.
It was so good. I look back now, I was like, am I that cool? Did I
you are. Now, let me ask you an important question about this trip. Was there any big breakdowns?
Oh, yeah. I had a brand new engine built by the FE guru in the area. And I admit, he's really good. He also really procrastinates. And, if one of his dirt track racer guys has an engine needs built, your engine gets pushed to the side.
Yeah.
So I dropped the engine off. I dropped the heads off in September. I should have those back by November. No problem, he says. Okay.
Yeah.
On November, they weren't done, and I gave him the rest of the engine because I decided, let's just do a whole engine. I had a spare FE.
Yeah.
So, okay, take this 352, make it into a 390 because you told me those are the good heads to start with no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I need this back into February because I'm taking this trip the first week of May. No problem. You'll have this back way earlier than that. Well, in about the 12th of July...
You see what happened was
about the 12th of July, I called him and I said, hey, I need this engine next week. I'm going to come pick up the engine or I'm going to pick up the pieces. We're months and months behind schedule. I had to postpone the trip. So it has to be done. I'm leaving September 2nd and it's the middle of July. I need the engine. I need time to put miles on the car to test everything before I get on the road. That was on a Friday. I called him and told him that. Well, on Sunday, he posted pictures on Facebook of this is what I'm supposed to build high performance engines out of. And I could tell it was an FE he was working on. I'm like, you just started this. You didn't touch it until now. He gets it all put together. The bill's twice as much as he told me it'd be. But at this point, I don't care. I need it. I have no other options. Get it into the car. And I had to put Phytech on the car earlier that year because I'm like, I'm going to be going from 0 feet above sea level to 10,000. I don't want to mess with the carb every day, and because I used to, when I drive out to the Colorado with the carb on the car, it's great until I hit the edge of the front range. And, you guys want to go up in the mountains for the afternoon? Well, okay, give me a minute here. Let me adjust. And then halfway home, I had to do it again. I was tired of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of cheated a little bit and put a fuel injection. So anyways, we get on the trip, get about 10,000 miles on the new motor, and it's running great. It's scalded. It's scalded S8, the old saying this, my grandparents or grandpa's generation was saying around here. It was fast. I loved it. And then all of a sudden one day I was outside of Sacramento. I was shooting a car out there, and the engine's acting a little funny. I get a hotel for the night and start playing around. Like, I got a dead cylinder.
Oh.
Did
you break a rocker?
I took it over to a local shop, and they had the car for 45 minutes and started getting into stuff because I didn't have much for tools with me. $115 later, they go, well, you got a burnt valve. And I'm like, I pulled the valve cover off. I could see that. And so I'm sitting there and like, I don't know what to do. 16 states in, 48 states total. This is nowhere near the end.
Yeah.
And some of the people I hung out with this weekend in Utah called me up and said, hey, we're in Salt Lake. We have a machine shop in the backyard. If you can get it here, we'll do everything we can to get you going again.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I said, all right, man. I rented a U-Haul and a trailer for $1,600, and they will let you take a way too small U-Haul for a 4,000-pound car. Went up over Donner Pass with the trailer having a wider track width than the truck. So the truck was in the ruts in the interstate, and the trailer kept trying to find the ruts. So the whole way up past the back of the truck was swinging back and forth, and I would just kept sucking more and more of the seat up into the rear end there. This is not good. All the way across Nevada, halfway across, I was like, oh, look, Bonneville. My car's not broken on the trailer, but there's Bonneville as I drove by. I got there, and the Elmer family, again, those are the folks I hang out with this weekend from the Salt Lake City Throttlers Car Club. I will always give them props. In 48 hours, we pulled both heads off, replaced 7 guides, 2 valves, and a seat.
Wow.
Did a full valve job, put it back together, and I took off again on Monday morning. So that was on Friday when I found out I had the burnt valve.
Yeah, but it took your guy 3 months to do that.
Right. So,
I think, the next one you need
breakdown.
built, just drive up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Get it done right the first time.
So, now those guys, and it's funny because they're flathead and banger guys. They are not overhead valve engine guys at all. And they produce some really cool stuff out there. So this was completely a foreign topic to them, this whole engine. And, it was awesome. We were sitting in the garage watching the Surfers YouTube videos, learning about the Surfers drag team and rebuilding an FE engine. And 48 hours later, I mean, they even put me up in the camper in the backyard. So Timmy put me up in a camper. They fed me all weekend. On a Sunday night, they took me to family dinner, like 14 family members at dinner. I mean, I felt like I feel like now I'm an honorary member of the family.
Why'd you leave?
Well, I know I had to finish the trip, So yeah, I got that was the big breakdown. I had a distributor problem. The second week of the trip, my top bushing on the distributor just decided didn't like me anymore.
Yeah.
Luckily, that happened in a small town where I knew somebody. And right as I'm sitting on the side of the road going, man, I think I've got his number here somewhere. He drove by.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What are the chances?
I'm like, hey, PJ, could you haul me back to town and find somebody who's got a, FE distributor somewhere? And sure enough, we found a guy who used to own the parts store, and he still had a bunch of parts in his garage. And he had a rotor, and he had a old wheat truck that had an FE motor in it. So we went and stole the cap off of that, and completely reassembled the distributor with the Petronics still back in it, and took back off on the road. And
it was some good luck on this.
Well,
this
and
trip.
this is just more evidence that the hot rod, rat rod community, all of them are the best community.
Oh yeah.
I mean, big time.
There's a lot of folks that you can just ask them for anything. If they see you need it, they're going to make sure you get it.
Yeah. Like if I see a guy broke down in a 73 Plymouth while I don't like it, I'm still going to help him out.
Right.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know that in the summertime, he's riding around with the windows down, dying just like I am. So there's a shared, love there. Yeah. So yeah, of course we're going to help him out.
And I heard an interview with a guy recently that's really into just perfect restoration cars, and they spend ungodly amounts of money making the car just as boring as it was when it came off the showroom floor.
Yeah.
And all, Godspeed to him and everything. It's not my thing, but you guys want to do that. That's great. And he was talking about how some of these people have, like, if it's a 1 of 7 car and they know exactly where this paint job was supposed to go, they're not going to tell anybody else because they want theirs to be the perfect one. I'm like, that's not my car scene at all.
Oh yeah. Then nobody's going to know it. And when that person dies, everybody's going to wonder. And then somebody's going to figure it out and go, that guy was a jerk. Or
somebody's just going to be like, this is where it goes. That's not where it goes, but that's where he says it goes. He has proof his is there. And, no, I mean, that's what I dig about the hot rod and custom car scene is pretty much everybody in it 95% of people in this scene are just amazing people. It's like a family, anywhere you go at some of these shows.
Oh yeah. Just as an example, me, Dan, and Kent, and any other type of, I don't know, we would be competition, but we're not,
Yeah.
We're not, we're all within like 2 hours from each other, but we're not competition at all. We're just, friends. So, that's a good example for you right there.
Yeah.
And we're all small businesses at the same time too. And, the only way that we get ahead is by working with each other to some extent.
Rising tide raises all ships,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't do one of you any good to be bagging on one of the other guys, because that just makes you look bad, But guys, I'm really glad you took time out to talk to me tonight. We'll try to keep these things around an hour, so we'll probably better.
Marathon. Let's go.
And we'll here, and we're gonna go now. So again, Rod and Style TV YouTube channel on January 29th at 10 a.m. East Coast. So all you West Coast guys are going to have to wake up early. I'm sure it will, it's going to be live streamed, but it'll probably be saved and put back up, at the live stream will probably exist. But then you guys are going to do your own versions of it. It'll be out a little bit later. So again, let's drop your Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube handles. Let's start with you, Dan.
Everything for me is Greasy Boy Kustoms with a K on every social media and YouTube and website as well.
Cool. And Zach?
Yeah, mine's pretty simple. Wired Customs on everything. Instagram's wiredcustoms.ba. YouTube's just Wired Customs, pretty straightforward. But also check out Kent's Customs.
Yes.
I think it's KC Cycles on Instagram.
Yeah.
He hasn't started his YouTube channel yet, but he's going to right after this chop.
Cool.
But just Google him up, check him out. But then also make sure you check out Benchmark Abrasives. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh yeah.
But they're supplying everything for the chop. We don't need anything.
Yeah.
Grinding discs, cut off wheels. They hit us up pretty hard and helping us out a lot.
Oh, that's no small thing with this much work either.
I know, right? Yeah, that saves us. And this thing's going to be more than one chop. I know we didn't really get into that, but they gave us more than one chop. So we're going to have some for this chop and the next one after this. So that's awesome.
Teaser for something to come too. All right.
Oh,
provocative.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on Chrome Pipes and Pinstripes. I really appreciate it. And I wish I was going to be someplace where I could sit and watch it, but I'm going to be around America's Most Beautiful Roadster building that morning. So I might go look at those cars. No offense. I might look at those cars, then come back and watch the video a little later.
Hey, we might chop a Roadster at one point in time, so we'll hit you up then.
There you go.
Yeah. You should hang a tablet off your back and have it playing on while you're walking around.
Yeah. But then I can't watch it, so I should really.
You can watch it later.
Oh, just get a big iPad Pro with straps on it and just walk around.
Wear like a backpack.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. And
thanks for having us.
If there's anything that I can do to help promote any of this stuff in the future, please let me know, and I'd be more than happy to help promote. And you guys have yourselves a good evening.
Yeah.
All right, man. You too. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was a really good time talking to those guys. I love that I continue to meet new people in this hobby that are into a lot of the same stuff that I'm into, who kind of have the same passions that I do about cars, and who really enjoy teaching people so that we can get more people into this hobby. What a great thing. So just like them, if you're out there and you have some knowledge about the car hobby that you want to teach to somebody, find a way to do it. Even if it's one-on-one or if it's on YouTube or whatever, in between, anything. We've got to keep this hobby going. And how we do that is bringing new people into it and teach them everything we know. All right, let's talk a little bit about last weekend, the Flaming Gorge Resort Snow Rally. Whoa. Now, last year I had to miss it because about a week or two before, both of my bosses got COVID. Well, we're a 3-person company at the time. Now we're 4. We added a new person. It's really helpful. And so they were completely out, and I had to stay to run the shop. And it sucked to miss all that fun, but we had to do what we had to do. This year, flying out there, it's a short weekend. I don't have a ton of vacation time, so we decided to fly out on Friday morning, hang out all weekend, and then fly back Sunday night. Got home, left at like 5 or 6:15 on Friday morning, got home at like midnight Sunday night. But it was better than 28 hours of driving in that same time frame. So we had a really good time. And I'm going to put a video out. I'm hoping, as I'm recording this right now, I have not edited the video yet that's going to be posted. So hopefully later tonight, I'm going to get that video edited and posted of the whole snow rally. We had a blast. About 30 cars were lined up to be there, and then a snowstorm rolled in on Friday between Flaming Gorge and the Front Range of the Rockies, and like 10 cars couldn't make it because they basically were snowed in. So 20 cars were there, and you wouldn't think that 20 cars would be enough to have a great time. Oh yeah, it is. We had a blast. And I think you watch that video on YouTube here. You're going to, on YouTube, or I guess that's the only place you can watch it. Watch that video on YouTube. You're going to enjoy it. I keep forgetting I'm recording these for video for YouTube now, these podcasts, but you might be listening as audio version. If you're just listening to as an audio version, go check out the videos I've been doing lately of the car show events. Tell me what you think of them. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Would you rather see more photos? Honestly, I got kind of tired of doing the photos because there's just a bajillion people out there doing photos at every event I'm at. And I don't know, kind of felt like I was blending in with everybody else. And I wanted to stand out and do something that's a little bit different than just add more noise. Okay. So that's why I'm doing the video. And hopefully you enjoy that. So, and if you're watching this video on YouTube and you didn't realize you could get this as a podcast, it is available in all your favorite podcast players as a podcast. If you're listening to it as a podcast and didn't realize, come on over and watch it as a video. If you dig what I've been doing for 15, 16 years now, you think it's cool, go to Patreon. Drop a couple bucks a month. Help me pay the bills it takes to keep this whole thing going. And, we all can have some more fun. So I'm not going to get too much into the Flaming Gorge Resort video or recap because it's all going to be in the video. And I really want you people to go check it out. I really think you're going to enjoy it. We had an absolute blast in the snow/mud rally on Saturday. And then on Sunday, it was the snow/ice rally, but still a ton of fun. Bangers, flatheads, and a couple overhead valve engines, paddle tires, tractor tires, chains on tires, studded tires, and just plain old tires. Lots and lots of fun. Get out in your car, go drive it when the weather lets you, and have a good time. And also try to bring somebody else new into this hobby. You have yourself a great week, or great, however long it is till I do another one of these. Stay safe, don't die, and I'll see you at a show. Thanks for listening to another episode of Chrome Pipes and Pinstripes. If you got to this point, that means you listened to the whole show, and I appreciate that. So I want to throw one thing out here. If you dig what I do with these podcasts, you dig what I do with RoyboyProductions.com, please consider going over to Patreon.com/RoyboyProductions. Patreon.com/RoyboyProductions. That's where, if you feel like it, you can say, hey, you know what? I'll throw Royboy $1 a month, or $5 a month, or $10 a month, because I appreciate what he does. Talking about myself in the third person sounds really weird. So, forgive me for all the weirdness here. If you dig what I do, please come over here and help support what I do, because it takes a lot of money to go to these events, to stay in the hotels, to buy this expensive equipment. All of my equipment is getting pretty old. So the podcast recorder right now is held together with just prayer. I think that's the only thing making it continue to work. And I will need to buy a new one at some point this year, and they're quite pricey. So I'm not trying to complain, just saying thank you for all the people who have helped me over the years by buying hats and shirts and stuff. I'll have new shirts out this year. And in the meantime, you can go over to RoyboyProductions.com, check out all the stuff I have there. If you feel like throwing a couple dollars a month at me, I really would appreciate it. It's Patreon.com/RoyboyProductions. And I'll work out some stuff that the people who donate there get a little bit of heads up and get some stuff ahead of time. All right. Thanks for listening. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye now. Well, somebody's got to ride this dinosaur.